welcome to Love Bytes, the show where we debug romance. Now, I am not a doctor. I am not a psychiatrist.
I am not a patient.
I don't have a degree in sociology or psychology, but what I do have is wealth of experience and a sincere desire to help you. Because sometimes love can get messy. And sometimes, if you're not careful, love bites. Hey everybody, and welcome to our episode of Love Bites with our special guest here, Dr. Jason Kimball.
I'm not a doctor yet.
Dr. Jason Kimball. Quotes. So, we were going to have a different guest on, my older brother, but he bailed on me exactly 15 minutes ago because he's too hungover and he wants to play Counter-Strike. So, here we go with Jason Kimball. Do you have anything you want to say before we hop into questions?
Just thanks for having me. I'm excited. Long time viewer, first time caller.
All right, so we're going to start with a question we got 2 weeks ago when Kate was on, but we didn't get a chance to get to it. And here it goes. I recently met a girl that I find very interesting, but she's with somebody else. So what do I do? Jason, how do you feel about this?
It's an interesting question, actually. So I actually am starting to date a girl, and she was with another guy. They've been together for 9 months, and she was very upfront about it, and told me we should hang out, but that she was in a relationship, and things kind of progressed in our friendship, and it got to the point where she became more interested in me than him, and she ended things with him, and this has been all within the last 2 months, so it's kind of new territory. It's the first for me. I feel very flattered, but it was something that she was willing to do. It's not something that I forced upon her. So I think that's kind of the first part is level of expectation. Obviously, if she's with someone else, that's a decision that she has made, and it's up to her to decide if she wants to change that.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I have a friend, a close friend actually, who recently was dating a guy for like 3 years. They'd gone to college together and everything. Things had kind of not been working out. He was living in Southern California. She was in San Francisco. I mean, it was still great and they were still close, but, it wasn't what it used to be. And then she, love at first sight, fell like madly head over heels for some guy that she met at a thing with some friends. And decided to go with the new guy instead of the old guy. So it's definitely possible. You can definitely do. This is not a situation that's unstoppable or that will necessarily defeat you. But don't push it, right?
Yeah, I think also it strongly depends on the type of relationship that she's already in. If she's very happy, there's a lot of risk involved in changing that up. So I think it's really difficult for the guy to do much about it. And it really is a situational thing where if she's not getting what she wants from the relationship, then I think you have a good chance. You should definitely express interest and, let her know that she has options. But much more than that, I don't really know if there's something, you're not going to smooth talk her into it with some, slow jazz and wine or anything like that.
Yeah. Good luck, buddy. You're gonna need it. Okay, here's a long one. I need advice on how to help someone else with a breakup. Me and my best friend were spending the weekend together at a festival, and her boyfriend, who she'd been with for 2 years, broke up with her. She was clearly very upset, she was more quiet, and didn't want to get out as much. And one night I woke up and heard her crying her eyes out. I didn't try to help her because I was terrified that I would fuck something up even more. I've never been in a relationship myself, so I don't have any advice, and I didn't understand how she felt. She's gotten over it now, but not being able to help her tore me up. I need to know what I can do, if anything, to help her or anyone if that happens again. So how do you help a friend through a breakup?
Ooh, this is a hard one. Um, I don't think that there's one answer for this.
No.
Especially, women
Hmm.
can be very complicated, in my opinion, when they're upset. Um, a lot of times they're not looking for answers, they're just looking to vent. And so being available to listen is important. But if they don't want to talk, I mean, what do you do about that?
Yeah. I mean, you can't force them, but you can create a space in which they feel safe to talk about things. By being a supportive friend, by nudging a little bit but not prying. That can help you. That can help her see you as someone that she can confide in or talk to about problems that she's having. I mean, I think that cuts both ways for guys and girls. Guys will often not want to talk about their breakups. Like, whatever, it's over, I'm moving on. And meanwhile, still being like crushed internally. So, to help someone through something, I would just put yourself in a position where you're not making jokes about them and you're actually being supportive and like prodding a little bit, but not too much. Just enough so that they know that you're interested in discussing it and maybe helping them work through it, but not really pushing. So,
Yep. And actually, chat's bringing up a good point. Chocolate is always nice, or just doing something a little out of your way, you know,
hmm
bringing them a coffee, anything like that. Just doing something to make them feel better, and letting them know that you're interested in their, being happy.
yeah,
Maybe that's a good way to kind of lead into getting them to open up if they're a little resistant.
yeah. Do something unusual and out of your way for them. That sounds like a good idea. All right. Moving on to the next one. I met this girl online a year ago playing WoW. A few months ago, we really started talking and got pretty close. And here's the problem. At first, she said she was 21, but now it turns out she's actually 17. We were just talking online, but we're growing really close and starting to use relationship language with each other. I'm 20 years old. Help in all caps. Uh, well,
First,
you
watch
start.
out. First of all,
Yeah,
know your state laws. Period.
yeah.
Um,
But I think if you're just online, you're not breaking any law. I don't know. I don't know
uh,
actually.
just talk. I think just talk is safe for the
Yeah.
most part. Look, the difference between 17 and 20 isn't that big. Okay, difference between 18 and 21 is the same, is better, and still isn't that big.
Yeah.
So I don't think the jump from 21 to 17 is that big of a deal logistically. Um, I think the fact that they lied to you and that they've carried on that lie for a long time is more of a problem for me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, I guess the fact that they're being honest now, that's showing that there's a reason that they want you to know this. So that's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I can
Um,
understand someone online, especially a girl, saying she's older than she actually is to be taken seriously. I mean, if you're playing WoW and everyone's like, "Oh my God, girl, girl, girl," they'll give you shit. And then if you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm this age," as opposed to like 21, which is a nice legal age for everything, I can
right.
understand the mentality of someone that you meet online at first pretending to be something else just for you know that sort of thing. So I don't think the lying in this situation is necessarily a big deal.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, I agree with that logic.
if it was another situation, like if you had met out with some friends or at a bar or at a party or something, and at that point she'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm much older," then that's a larger problem. But here, I think the real issue here is what are your intentions with this person? You said you're wanting to use relationship language, or you're starting to use it, but I don't know how far you mean to take that.
Right. Right. That's a good point. I don't want to sound like an elitist because I'm, an old fart, but also like 20 years old is pretty young. Like I'm guessing this person hasn't been in a lot of relationships. at this point. So the best advice I could offer is just to take things slow. You know, if you've got a good friendship going, keep it up. You know, give it some space and some time to grow, and maybe some wonderful things will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Take your time. Find out when her birthday is so that you're not breaking any laws. I don't know what your state says constitutes illegal activity here, but I think any sort of talking should be fine. But I really don't know. You should really check up on the state laws on this sort of thing, and shy away from anything.
No dick pics.
Yeah, and don't ask for any pics either, because then that's child pornography, and then that gets you, that's fucked up, dude. You be super fucking careful. When she turns 18, if things are still cool, proceed safely. But until then, you might want to consider looking elsewhere. I don't know. I don't know.
Or just slowing things down.
Yeah. Yeah. Slowing things down would be good. Okay. Let's move on to something else now. Let's see. I have been dating this guy for 5 months now, and after he came back from a vacation with his family, he won't sleep with me anymore. That was 3 weeks ago. I don't want to play the suspicious girlfriend, but it's pretty black and white.
That's pretty black and white.
Hmm.
Unless he got poison ivy in an area he's embarrassed about while he was hiking, I mean, I could see that as being a good reason to not want to sleep with someone. But
Yeah.
that's a big change. And if he doesn't have a reason to justify it, that would make me very suspicious that something is going on.
Yeah, that's a big mafia tell right there.
It doesn't necessarily mean that he cheated or anything. It could be that, I don't know, maybe he talked a lot and he got pressure from his family saying, they don't like this girl or they don't like him being in a relationship. It could be a lot of different things. Not necessarily saying that the guy did something wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not something I would let just pass by either.
Yeah. I mean, clearly you're at a point where sex is important to you in your relationships, and you're bothered by the lack of it and what it could mean. So I would say communication is key here. Talk to him. Try and get him to open up. But, you need to... This is not something that you should just pass off, I would say.
And, if you're hitting a brick wall there, maybe talk to his family.
That's true. You could ask... I mean, if you're close with any of his family members, you could talk to them, see what happened on the vacation, or someone else that might know. But I wouldn't go so far as to talk to everyone that was on the vacation. You don't want to turn into a crazy stalker.
No.
But ask a person or two. But that's definitely, yeah. You're not wrong for being suspicious. That's
Yeah.
legitimate.
Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Oh boy, this was a giant wall of text. This situation has already been resolved, but I want to know what you have to say about it so I can see if I did the right thing. Lol. Okay. I really liked this girl about a year ago, right after a hard breakup for her. That doesn't make any sense. Her and I became really close, and she kissed me, but when I would ask her about what was going on between us, she would tell me she had feelings for her ex still, and she didn't know how she felt about me. A couple of months passed, and we continued to become closer, and then due to financial problems with my family, I ended up moving in with her and her family for about 4 months. In that time, she and I seemed to continue to grow closer as we did more things, not all the way, in quotes, just more, and she made the first moves. During that time, I came upon some information that she had actually been telling all of her close friends that she didn't like me, and how I'm such a nightmare to live with. But at the same time, she was telling me that she really did like me. So what was I supposed to believe? What was I supposed to believe, what she would tell me, or that what she would tell her closer friends? And what should I have done about it? Bottle my feelings and believe what she tells me, or cut it off because she was lying to me and seemingly untrustworthy? Okay. So, starting to date a girl, and she says she likes you, but she tells everyone else she doesn't like you. Is kind of to boil it down a little bit. Um, that's super fucking sketchy.
Sounds like she's embarrassed a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
And it might just be like a peer pressure thing, where like if her friends don't like you, but she does, she's gonna tell her friends, that she doesn't like you either.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that is pretty sketchy.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I think it's exactly an embarrassment thing.
Um, so yeah, maybe I don't know. I don't know what this girl's like or what this guy's like. I think this is a very situational thing. Um, Cinderella falls in love with a neckbeard. Okay, Cinderella's going to be embarrassed. I'm not
Hmm.
trying to say that that's what the situation is, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. But
Yeah.
but the encouraging thing is if she is making the moves, that's a really important sign. Like that's not something to just take lightly. So if she's making an active effort to further the relationship, that is a really, really, really positive sign to me.
Yes. I, yeah, it's so it sounds like she actually likes you. All right. She's otherwise she wouldn't be making first moves. You guys are living together, kind of, sorta, and having a good time and getting closer is what you're saying. So clearly, there's something going on here, and the issue at hand is more of her embarrassment over it and her telling her friends like negative things about you, which is not cool.
Right.
So I would talk to her, not necessarily in a confrontational manner, but at some point sit her down and be like, "Hey, I heard you saying to so and so XYZ, and that living with us is a nightmare. What's up with that? Like, why are you telling these people these things?" And let her know that, you don't appreciate it. And then she might, I don't know what she has to say, but, I would not, don't be confrontational. Don't get in her face and give her shit and make her feel awful about it, but express that you dislike that and that it, is damaging to you.
I've lived with some pretty good friends, and like we were friends, we hung out, and then roommates moved out and they moved in. And every once in a while, you just really need to vent about the little things your roommates do that piss you off. Like eating the last bagel, things like that. So if you guys were living together and it was kind of an awkward situation or one that, kind of came about quickly, it very well could be that while she did like you and was, your relationship was growing, that the situation just wasn't 100% comfortable all the time. And so who's she going to vent to? Her friends, of course.
Yeah. But I don't think she'd use the word nightmare to her
That's a very
friends.
good point, Neil. That is a very good point.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I've been in that same spot, but nightmare is a strong word. I'm glad this is resolved, however you resolved it.
Yeah, did he clue us in what happened?
No, he just said the situation's already been resolved.
Well, I have things to say about OP, but I'll keep those to myself.
Yeah. OP never delivers.
It would be nice to hear back.
It would be. It would be. Communication. Like that's the staple of all successful, healthy relationships is communication, and part of that is not just talking, but it's actually like, as we would say in Mafia, it's not just about contributing, or it's not just about talking. It's about contributing. You need to have like a positive discussion that can generate an outcome that you would like. So that means throwing away your ego. That means throwing away your necessary, perhaps your agenda, and approaching the conversation and seeing where it goes. Don't come into something and expect to grill someone on a particular point, because they're going to feel the pressure and they're going to be awkward and they're not going to like it and it's going to blow up and everyone's going to yell at each other. But approach it in a reasonable, calm manner where you put all of your bottled up emotions and pent up fears like aside and just talk about the issue.
Yeah, and be humble and be prepared for some shots fired, because you're trying to find out information and some of it is going to be about you. Maybe things you didn't know or didn't want to hear, but don't let it upset you.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the next question. How should I go about trying? How should I go about in trying to get my girlfriend of 2 years to try new things in bed? Thanks.
Ask.
Use
I
your.
mean,
I broach the topic in a situation where this is one of those situations where you don't maybe I don't know. It depends on what you want to do. This is again very situational, but if it's something like an easy baby step, you can sit her down at some point and be like, "Hey, this is something I want to try. Can we try this?" Otherwise, you may want to like wait for a conversation that naturally, where the
God,
subject
yeah.
of things happening in bed comes up naturally. Um, I strongly recommend not just going for it if it's pretty far out of the box. That can be bad. You don't want to, pull out a gimp mask if you guys aren't into that stuff yet. That can scare people away. Kimball, help me here.
Um, this is one of those very situational things. So every girl's different, and the type of relationship that you have is going to dictate how open, both of you are to trying new things. So if you've kind of hit a stagnant point and you're trying to spice it up, I think that's a very common situation that a lot of people face. And just being open about desires and, trying to be creative, trying to suggest new things. But yeah, baby steps. Um, like you said, don't just put on the gimp mask and grab the chains and be like, all right, I had this thing I wanted to try, right? Yeah, baby steps.
Yeah, yeah,
But don't be shy about it per se. There's you know there's a lot of prudish nature in especially American culture, and I think a lot of people are somewhat afraid or embarrassed about their sexual desires, and it's not something that you should be.
agreed. Go for it. I mean, go do talk about it. It's okay to do things that are non-standard, whatever standard means. You sh- I don't. I don't. Never mind. I'm done. Okay, so we're just about at a halfway point. We're going to take a quick break. And during this break, if you guys have questions that you'd like us to answer, you can email me at koibo@regalgoblins.com or you can PM me on Twitch, and we will try and get your questions answered. So be right back in just a moment, guys. All right, we are back for part 2 of Love Bites. Remember, if you guys have any questions, send them to me on Twitch or at koibu@regalgoblins.com. But here's our next question. So I've been dating this guy for a while, about 8 months, and everything has been going really well until last night when I was at a friend's house for a party and ended up kissing another guy. We didn't make out or anything, it was just a quick, and I don't care about him at all, but I think I might have fucked up. Is that cheating? What should I do? I don't want to lose him.
Oh man, I think this question is a little bit vague. I mean, did she like kiss him on the lips goodbye, or was it like I'm interested and it's just testing the waters kind of kiss? Like I'm a little bit confused, but I'm going to assume that that kiss had romantic intent. It wasn't the kind of just kiss on the lips you'd give your mom when you're saying goodbye.
Right.
Is that fair to assume?
I mean, that we can work from that angle for now, I would
Okay.
say.
Because if this is a technical thing, like, oh, her lips made contact with another male, like, I think that's kind of not a big issue. But if it's like, I mean, if it was an intended romantic kiss,
Yeah.
regardless of whether there was, tongue or not, I would put those on the same, level.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just want to, I want to make very clear what our assumptions are before we discuss this.
I would say let's start with the assumption that was with romantic intent, and then maybe touch on the other things after we wrap that up.
Okay.
So, if this was, you're at a party, maybe you've had a couple drinks, and there's a guy and you're talking and it's going great, and then you kiss and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? And then you like walk away, then clearly you already know the answer to this problem because you've done something and you feel that you've done something wrong. And that feeling of done something wrong should tell you that it's probably wrong. Listen to that gut feeling of that. On the other hand, if that's really the case, I think most relationships work on the concept of don't kiss anyone, don't do anything with anyone, and if that happens, I would rather know. So,
Absolutely.
in that situation, the right thing to do is to, go up to your guy and be like, hey, so remember that thing that I went to with those people? Well, this is what happened. It didn't mean anything. I'm telling you right away because I don't want to get this blown out of proportion or whatever. I'm so sorry. Something along those lines.
So I think an important thing to do though is, I mean, you really have to reflect on what happened. Why did this happen? Okay. Is it just, oh, I was drunk? Because that's never a good excuse, right?
No.
Because if you plan on ever drinking again, then your boyfriend is going to be suspicious and jealous every time you do.
Correct.
So is this something that you can rationalize somehow in your head? Why did this happen? Is this a special case? Or, is there maybe something wrong in the relationship and I don't want to admit it to myself?
Yeah.
Because, I don't think people kiss accidentally, even when they're drunk.
No.
When they're in a relationship with someone that they really care this much about.
Yeah. I mean, if it was a one-on-one where you're having a conversation and you really like it and then you end up kissing, then definitely not. If it's, I could conceive of some situations where you're at a party and you're hanging out and at the time the kiss didn't mean anything, but then later you're like, wait a minute, I actually went through and did that, while at the time it had no meaning. But we're talking about kissing with meaning. Never mind. We're working on this meta currently.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah. So yeah, if you did it intentionally with, the idea of, ooh, he looks so kissable, I just have to do this, and I want to kiss him. There's a problem somewhere. You're probably not being fulfilled in your relationship, or maybe you aren't satisfied with a monogamous relationship, but there's something going on that you need to look at more closely.
Yeah. But I definitely agree that you should talk about it with him. You should definitely let him know.
Yeah. Honesty is really a good policy.
Yeah. So I actually have a story, if you'd like to hear it.
We would love to.
I was dating this girl for about a year, and I was at a party, and I met this girl, and things just happened. And I knew full well it was wrong, and I knew what I was doing, and I had it in my head that, like, okay, I'm done with this relationship. I'm moving on, and this is the way that I'm going to break it off, right? I'm going to do something which is irretractable and will set things in motion that I have previously been unable to commit to, right? Tons of my friends were at the party. Everyone knew what was going on. I waited 2 days to tell her what had happened, and oh man, it was a mess. It was really bad. But we both decided to, get past it, to stay together. And we ended up dating for another year after that, until she cheated on me with a guy who they've now been together for like 6 years. So that relationship had problems.
Yeah. Wow.
And that should have been a strong indicator. But I'm not sure what my point was anymore. But anyway, that happened. We got through it, and later on things ended differently. But that wasn't the breaking point. So I think a little kiss on the lips is something you can totally get through. Again, I want to say you should reflect on why you think it happened, and kind of give it a bit of evaluation.
Yeah.
Before moving on.
Definitely. You definitely have to look at the root of the issue. Now, to touch on the other topics, other possibilities, if it wasn't an intentional sort of thing, if it was you're all hanging out, there's some sort of party game that's going on or something, I don't know what it could be, but and then you end up like kissing a guy that's totally meaningless in the heat of whatever is going on. That's slightly different, because then it definitely doesn't mean anything. It definitely,
Right.
It's just, oh, whoops, that was dumb. In that case, I would, again, talk, but I would worry less. It's, you're not interested in him. You were legitimately like doing something else and accidentally, if that is even a word in this context.
Yeah. Something which you felt at the time didn't have consequence.
Yeah.
But then you realize, oh, I'm in a relationship. It's not okay.
Yeah.
Regardless of, how you felt at the time. But yeah, definitely don't keep it a secret. It'll eat you up inside.
Yeah. That stuff is not good. I would say, do you have any other facets of this that you want to touch on?
This particular question, I think I've gotten everything out.
Yeah, me too. Now, this is a Love Bites first. We've actually run out of questions. So, with this lack of questions, I'm going to tentatively say we will take some from chat. If you guys want to post some questions. Other than that, we can just discuss. Oh, wait, hold on. Here we go. Oh, thank God. Okay. Hey, guys.
We have a late entry.
Very late entry. Hey guys, I have a coworker and she happens to be my boss. We're the same age, 27, and we spend a lot of time together at the office alone. We are chemical engineers, and we are interested in dating each other. The problem is that HR has some huge issues with inter-office relationships and very strict rules when it comes about to boss-manager relationships, which could lead to both of us losing our jobs if they found out. Do you think that we should date, keep it a secret, hide it from HR, or should we come out to HR, go under investigation for improper manager-worker relationship, and possibly lose our jobs? Well, first and foremost, is your job more important to you than this relationship? If so, if this is your dream job, and this girl, your boss, is cool, but not like the girl you're going to spend the rest of your life with, don't date her, because it's going to ruin your dream job. Like you have to make an analysis of what is the most important thing in your life right now. Is the potential of this relationship greater than the potential of your career? If so, if the girl is really that amazing or your job is like that mediocre, then I would continue with the dating, regardless of whether you tell HR or not. But if this is, chemical engineer, dream job, blah, 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 I would say break it off because a lot of girls, I don't. This girl may be great, but there's a lot of other great girls out there.
Yeah.
You can find there's more fish in the sea. Blah blah blah. Don't worry about losing one good girl. I would worry about losing a great girl.
Yeah. I mean that it's hard because it seems like every time you enter a new relationship, this is a girl who is different and better than all the other girls you've met, right? So it's hard to imagine meeting someone better than the current one that you know you're interested in. But that's always the case, it seems.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't bet at all on this one girl just because you seem to have something good going on. If it's amazing, if it's, you know, you think she's the one, then you start considering options. But there might be a lot of options. So if you do decide to go for the girl, I don't think you should do it behind the backs of HR. That they're probably, I mean, I don't know the specifics of this. It sounds like they're pretty strict, but maybe there's options. You know, maybe you can do a lateral transfer, you know, so that you're working with another group, or, you know, maybe they have some policies. I don't know, what was it on The Office? Yeah, it was on The Office. They like signed forms, you know, talking about, you know, disclosing their romantic intent. It's a sticky situation, but, you know, I don't think that it's insurmountable from a straightforward and on the up and up approach.
Yeah. I mean, if you're both working here for a long-term career, then hiding it from the HR could be difficult for an extended period of time. However, if one of you is perhaps not that interested in the job or might be transferring elsewhere in the near future or something like that, I would go ahead and say don't bother with HR. I think that I understand the concept of inter-office relationship embargoes, and I understand HR wanting to control that stuff. However, if you're in the position where this will get you fired right away and you are valuing the girl more than your job, but you still don't want to lose your job, I understand the temptation to just keep it a secret. And I would say if you're in a situation where you can keep it, you can actually go ahead and keep this secret, like be really honest with yourself. If you can actually keep it until one of you moves or is no longer working in the same department, or until you get into a place where it wouldn't be a problem, that might actually make less waves. And I know it's not the legitimate, like the what do you call it, the socially acceptable way, but I think in some situations that might be okay. But you really have to make a solid assessment of the situation here, because if you get caught lying to HR about your relationship, then you're both fucked. Probably you'll probably
it could end your career even. I mean, if you get fired for that, they're not going to give you a good recommendation, and you know, it's like it's lying to the company, which is not something that looks good on your history.
Correct. Yeah. So, but my point is, you know, if you're going to move to another company in 3 or 4 months, or if she's going to get promoted to a different division in the next 6 months, and knowing HR at your company, if the HR at your company says something along the lines of no, totally unacceptable, must be ended, or you know, one of you has to be terminated, then I would say, well, hide it, or maybe like slow it down. But clearly, if we say slow it down until that point, you're just going to keep going and hide it. I mean, that's exactly what you would do. So if the situation will resolve itself in a timely manner, I would say hide it until it would be resolved. But if there's no resolution to it, then you might want to see if you can work with HR to be like, hey, this is actually something here. If this is not acceptable, I'm willing to like move to a new company, blah, 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 blah. But
office relationships are hard too. I mean, just in general, there's very good reasons why they have these rules in place.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother hurdle that you're going to have to cross if you do decide to pursue it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so the issues are not only are there problems. Holy crap! Whoops. No. There we go. Sorry, Kimball. You went away. Mafia chat came up for a moment. Not
Neil
only,
is mafia confirmed.
not only will it be a major problem if you break up and then she's your boss, but just seeing the same person at work and then at home and then in your off time can be really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
When I first moved to San Francisco, my girlfriend didn't really have a job, and then she got a job, but it was a really shitty job, and she hated it. And we didn't have any friends in the city at all, and so we spent all of our free time together. And I worked from home, so when she didn't have a job, we basically spent all like we were basically living together 24 hours a day for a while. I mean, not quite. It was like 20 hours a day. You know, it was a lot, and it was great. But after a year of that, it was really bad and end up like it caused a breakup between us, and we split up for
Yep.
9 months before we got back together again. But seeing someone all the time, especially at the beginning of a relationship, can be really damaging.
Yeah, not just in a relationship either. I had a friend that I spent a summer with, and he got me a job at his place. This was like the summer between undergraduate and graduate school, and he got me a job at his work, and I moved in with him and his girlfriend. They had just like a two-bedroom, and it was awesome for like the first half of the summer, and then it was just like I had too much of him, and we started arguing like an old married couple. Like all of our friends were making fun of us. But it totally, yeah, if you spend too much time with someone, regardless of the relationship status, you can start to get on each other's nerves quite a bit.
Here's a follow up from him in chat. It's a great job. We've been there 5 years, and I just don't want to screw up a job reference if it goes bad. Then don't date her.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, don't date her. It's not worth it. It's especially if she's your boss, because then if you guys date and it doesn't work out, you're not worrying about your job reference. You're worrying about your job now. Because if you guys break up, she's gonna find a reason. Oh, you're not keeping the lab tidy enough, just like you didn't keep your bedroom tidy enough. You're fired. So, uh, you know, don't not worth it, buddy. Back out while you still have a chance. Okay, here we go. From unless you want to do anything else on this topic.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. If you ask for a date on Facebook and the girl says she sees another guy, but her status says she's single, is she lying? And should I just drop out, or is it more right to push on? If she says she's seeing another guy, she's not interested in dating you.
Yeah, regardless of whether she's seeing another guy or not, that is like the nicest way to say, I'm sorry, I'm not interested.
Yeah, she's not into you, buddy. Sorry. Also, I've been dating a girl for 3.5 years, and never once have either of us put our relationship status on Facebook at all. So, but if she's into someone else, she's into someone else. Sorry, maybe you can be friends and maybe work your way in, as we discussed earlier, when someone's dating another person. It's not impossible, but if you're asking for a date on Facebook, I would move on.
Yep, one down, 3 billion to go.
Yeah, more being produced every year. We might have to wait a while for those, though.
Yeah, I was wondering where you're going with
You're gonna have to wait a long while.
At least still they get WoW accounts.
Yeah, yeah. Most of them are in China too, so find some gold farmers.
There you go.
All right, we got a follow up from the guy who said that he was living with the girl and he was a nightmare to live with. Follow up from that guy.
Awesome.
I attempted to talk to her about it, but when I did, she continued to give me a runaround about dating me, and she would tell me that she wasn't ready for a boyfriend, which I was actually okay with. But even after that, she would still kiss me and such, and when I would talk to her about it, she would avoid questions and say the same thing as before, which ended up confusing me more. So eventually I started to push her away because I was tired of feeling like I was her personal toy and she could play with me whenever she wanted, but then put me away when other people come around. And since about a month and a half ago, I have completely shut her out because I was only getting hurt and I wanted to know what being happy felt like again. Wow, that's heartbreaking. I thought I could have saved our relationship if I really wanted to invest more time and energy into it, but I had already spent it, and I didn't want to waste any more time on someone who seemingly didn't even know how they felt.
Good job.
Well done, sir.
That's 100%. I think you got a really good read. She may have not been intentionally using you as her toy, but I think she was confused about what she wanted, and if she's not willing to commit, then move on and just well done, sir. Well
Yeah.
done, and I hope you find a lot of happiness.
Yeah. Well done. Uh, I guess I have nothing further on that topic. Pro plays here. Okay, at this point, we are actually out of questions, so I will take some questions from chat if you guys have any questions for us. Unless there's anything, particular topics or metas you want to discuss regarding romance. Kimball.
Um, Nothing that's coming to mind.
Yeah. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any questions from chat. So we might just end this episode early, which would be fine with me. So we're ending a little bit early, about 10 minutes early, but that's fine. Thank you guys all for watching Love Bites. Thanks to Jason Kimball, Doctor, in quotes, Jason Kimball, for coming on.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, we will see you later, and we'll be streaming some more later tonight. Good luck, have fun, everybody.